The CSS Phoenix hung silently in the darkness of deep space, its sleek hull gleaming under the distant starlight. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the bridge's observation window, her dark eyes fixed on the sensor readings that scrolled across the transparent display. The experimental warship represented humanity's finest achievement in space warfare technology, though the rest of the galaxy didn't know that yet. "Commander," Lieutenant Rodriguez called from his station, his voice cutting through the quiet hum of bridge operations. "We're picking up multiple signatures entering the system. Configuration unknown." Chen turned from the window, her expression remaining neutral despite the surge of anticipation that ran through her. "Show me." The main display flickered to life, revealing a dozen crystalline ships emerging from fold space. Their designs were unlike anything in Earth's database, all sharp angles and geometric patterns that seemed to defy conventional engineering principles. They moved with an unsettling precision, arranging themselves in a formation that Chen recognized immediately as both defensive and intimidating. "They're broadcasting," Communications Officer Maya Winter reported, her fingers dancing across her console. "Universal frequency. Translation matrix is processing." The bridge crew waited in tense silence as the alien transmission was decoded. When it finally played through the speakers, the voice was artificially smooth, stripped of emotion by the translation software. "Unidentified vessel, you have entered space claimed by the Karthak Collective. Your primitive design suggests you represent a pre-spacefaring civilization. Stand down and prepare for assessment." Chen's jaw tightened. Humanity had known first contact was inevitable, but they'd hoped for something less condescending. "Send our standard greeting package. Let's see how they handle diplomatic protocol." The response came almost immediately, and it wasn't what anyone had hoped for. "Your attempt at diplomacy is noted but unnecessary. Preliminary scans indicate your technological level is insufficient for meaningful interaction. You will power down your systems and prepare for boarding. The collective will determine your species' potential value." Commander Chen shared a look with her XO, Commander James Walker. They'd war-gamed this scenario countless times, but the reality of it still felt surreal. "Tactical analysis?" she asked. Walker studied his readings. Their energy signatures suggest advanced weapon systems, but their shield configuration has gaps, probably because they've never needed to worry about them. "They're overconfident." "That's their first mistake," Chen murmured. She straightened her uniform and took her command chair. "All stations, battle readiness. But keep our advanced systems powered down for now. Let's not show our full hand." The Karthak ships were moving closer, their formation tightening. They clearly expected no resistance from what they perceived as a primitive vessel. Chen allowed herself a small smile. The Phoenix had been built for exactly this scenario. Humanity's first line of defense against a hostile universe. "They're charging weapons," Rodriguez reported, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "Reading energy buildup in their forward arrays." Chen nodded. "Let them fire first. We'll show them exactly how primitive we are." The first shot came as a brilliant beam of energy, aimed precisely at the Phoenix's engines. It was a disable shot, meant to cripple rather than destroy. But the Phoenix wasn't there to receive it. The ship moved with impossible speed, its inertial dampeners allowing maneuvers that would have pulverized an ordinary crew. "Return fire," Chen ordered. "Standard kinetic rounds only. Let's test their shields." The Phoenix's railguns spoke, sending hypervelocity slugs toward the nearest Karthak vessel. The alien shields flared brilliantly, but held. However, the impact forced them to adjust their formation, creating openings that Chen had been waiting for. "They're broadcasting again," Winter announced, a note of satisfaction in her voice. "They seem confused." The translated voice returned, this time with an edge of uncertainty. "Your vessel's capabilities exceed initial estimates. Explain your technological discrepancy immediately." "Send no response," Chen commanded. "Tactical, prepare to bring our primary systems online. Let's show the collective why humanity reached the stars not through inheritance or discovery, but through determination and ingenuity. The Phoenix's hull began to glow with subtle energy as its true weapon systems powered up. The Carthax ships reacted immediately, their formation shifting into an aggressive attack pattern. But they were still operating under assumptions about humanity's capabilities, assumptions that were about to be violently corrected. All hands. Chen's voice rang through the ship's communications. This is the moment we've trained for. The Carthax Collective is about to learn that humanity isn't just another species to be conquered or dismissed. We are the descendants of warriors and dreamers, of survivors and innovators. And we will not kneel. The space between the ships lit up with weapons fire, and the first real battle between humanity and an alien empire began. The Phoenix danced through the void, its advanced systems now fully online, showing the Carthax that they had made a grave error in judgment. This wasn't just first contact. It was humanity's announcement to the galaxy that they were a force to be reckoned with. And they were just getting started. The Phoenix's bridge erupted into controlled chaos as tactical displays lit up with enemy movements. The Carthax fleet had recovered from their initial surprise and was now executing what appeared to be a standard containment pattern. Standard for them, at least. They're trying to box us in, Commander Walker observed, his eyes tracking the holographic battle display. Classic encirclement tactics. They still think we're going to fight like a cornered animal. Commander Chen nodded, watching as the crystalline ships moved with mathematical precision. And that's exactly why they're going to lose. Lieutenant Rodriguez, bring up the analysis of their shield harmonics. A new display materialized, showing complex wave patterns and energy signatures. The Carthax shields were impressive, but they followed a predictable pattern, a pattern that betrayed centuries of unchallenged supremacy. Their technology is more advanced, Chen mused, but they'd grown complacent. They'd forgotten that warfare isn't about who has the biggest guns, it's about who can adapt faster. The Phoenix shuddered as another barrage of energy weapons splashed against its defensive systems. The ship's quantum matrix shields, reverse-engineered from decades of studying astronomical phenomena, held firm. It wasn't just about copying alien technology. Humanity had learned to innovate by observing the universe itself. They're launching some kind of automated combat drones, Tactical Officer Sarah Wong reported. Hundreds of them. Pattern suggests they're trying to overwhelm our point defense systems. Chen smiled. This was exactly what she'd been waiting for. Deploy the Swarm protocols. The Phoenix's outer hull rippled as hundreds of microdrones launched from concealed bays. Unlike the rigid, predictable patterns of the Carthax drones, these moved like a school of fish, their movements organic and unpredictable. They were the product of years studying Earth's collective organisms, translating natural survival strategies into combat tactics. Their drones are attempting to establish a targeting lock, Rodriguez reported. But our Silvo-arm is disrupting their coordination algorithms. They can't predict our movement patterns. On the main display, the battle had transformed into a dance of light and shadow. The Carthax drones, designed to overwhelm with sheer numbers, found themselves outmaneuvered by systems that mimicked millions of years of evolutionary adaptation. Nature, it seemed, was a better teacher than any war college. Commander, Winter called out, we're intercepting their tactical communications. Their command structure is hierarchical. All orders flow from the lead ship. Just like we expected, Chen nodded. They never developed distributed command because they never needed it. Every species they've encountered fell in line or was destroyed. Upload Combat Package Alpha to the swarm. The microdrones shifted their behavior instantly, now moving with predatory purpose. They targeted communication relays and sensor arrays, not to destroy but to confuse and disorient. The Carthax fleet's perfectly coordinated movements began to falter. Their formation is breaking down, Walker reported with satisfaction. They're falling back on preset protocols because they can't maintain real-time coordination. Chen leaned forward in her command chair. Now we show them how humans fight. All weapons stations, execute maneuver thermopyle. The Phoenix's engines flared brilliantly, as the ship executed a series of movements that would have been impossible with conventional technology. The inertial dampeners, developed through countless dangerous experiments, allowed the ship to change direction instantly, defying the normal laws of momentum. Multiple targets locked, Wong announced. Reading shield weaknesses at their communication nodes. Fire at will, Chen ordered. Remember your training. We're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for Earth's future in the galaxy. The Phoenix's weapon systems came alive, each shot precisely calculated to exploit the gaps in Carthac defenses. Their advanced shields meant nothing if they couldn't adapt to new threats. The first Carthac vessel's shields collapsed under the concentrated fire, its crystalline hull cracking like ice under pressure. They're attempting to regroup, Walker warned. Reading power surges in their remaining ships. They might be preparing something big. Let them, Chen replied calmly. The longer this battle lasts, the more data we collect. Every shot they fire, every maneuver they make, it's all being analyzed and added to our combat database. We're learning more about their capabilities in minutes than we could have in years of observation. The Carthac fleet was now fully on the defensive, their formation torn apart by the combination of the Phoenix's unconventional tactics and the swarm's relentless harassment. Their attempts to counter were predictable, based on strategies that had worked against less adaptable opponents. They're broadcasting again, Winter announced. Their translator seems to be struggling with the concepts, but I believe they're demanding to know how we achieved our level of technology without being detected. Chen's expression hardened. No response. Let our actions speak for us. Humanity didn't develop this technology by waiting to be uplifted or guided by older species. We did it because we had to, because we knew this day would come. The battle continued to unfold, but it was no longer the one-sided engagement the Carthac had expected. Instead, it was becoming a harsh lesson in underestimating a species that had evolved through constant challenge and adaptation. The Phoenix wasn't just fighting. It was teaching the galaxy that humanity's greatest strength wasn't its technology, but its ability to turn any situation to its advantage. The void between stars became a canvas of destruction as the Carthac fleet unleashed their full arsenal. The Phoenix's quantum sensors detected a massive energy surge moments before space itself seemed to distort around the alien vessels. Multiple gravitational anomalies detected. Rodriguez called out, his voice tight with concentration. They're using some kind of space warping technology. Commander Chen watched as reality buckled around the Carthac ships. This was something they hadn't encountered in their simulations. Analysis. They're creating localized gravity wells, Walker responded, hands flying across his console, trying to trap us in a web of artificial gravitational fields. Clever, they're using their own natural advantage in space manipulation. The Phoenix shuddered as the gravitational forces pulled at its hull. Warning indicators flashed across multiple stations as the ship's structural integrity systems struggled to compensate. This was the moment of truth, when theory and training met unexpected reality. Reroute power from secondary systems to the quantum field generators, Chen ordered. Activate the Hawking protocols. The ship's experimental drive system hummed to life, its energy signature shifting in response to the gravitational assault. The Hawking protocols, named after the ancient physicist whose theories had helped make them possible, were humanity's answer to gravitational warfare. Ma'am, Winter interrupted. We're picking up transmission fragments from their fleet. Their command structure is fracturing. Some of their ship captains are questioning the High Commander's tactics. Chen allowed herself a grim smile. They're not used to prolonged engagements. Their entire military doctrine is based on quick subjugation. Send targeting data to all weapons stations. Focus on their command ship. The Phoenix's weapons officers responded with practiced efficiency, but the Carthac weren't finished. Their command ship, a massive crystalline structure that dwarfed its escorts, began to pulse with an inner light that made the sensors scream in protest. Energy readings off the scale, Wong reported. They're channeling power through their entire crystalline lattice. Whatever they're preparing, It's big. Show me their power distribution, Chen demanded. The holographic display shifted, revealing complex energy patterns flowing through the alien vessel. To most observers, it would have looked like chaos, but Chen saw something else, something familiar. They're using their entire ship as a weapon, she realized aloud. The crystalline structure isn't just armor. It's a massive energy-focusing array. Winter, get me ship-wide. The communications officer nodded, opening the channel to all decks. All hands, this is Commander Chen. What we're about to attempt has never been done outside of simulations. The enemy is preparing to unleash a weapon that could tear us apart, but they've made a critical mistake. They think their technology makes them invincible. They're about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon isn't our ships or our guns. It's our ability to turn an enemy's strength against them. She turned to Walker. Bring the quantum resonators online. Full power to the Sidwarum network. We're going to show them what happens when you push humanity into a corner. The Phoenix's systems began to hum with power as the ship prepared for Chen's desperate gambit. The Sidwarum drones, still harassing the Karthak fleet, suddenly changed formation, arranging themselves in a complex three-dimensional pattern around the human vessel. The enemy weapon is reaching critical charge, Rodriguez warned. 15 seconds to discharge. Chen's voice remained steady. Initiate quantum resonance cascade. Time it with their discharge. The space around the Phoenix began to shimmer as the Sidwarum drones generated a web of quantum fields, each calibrated to interact with the Karthak's crystalline energy weapon. It was a dangerous gamble. If their calculations were off by even a fraction, the feedback could destroy both fleets. 5 seconds, Wong counted down. 4, 3, 2. The Karthak command ship fired, its entire crystalline structure blazing with energy. The beam that emerged was like a newborn star, reaching out to annihilate the impudent humans who had dared to resist. But as it struck the quantum web created by the Phoenix and its swarm, something unexpected happened. The energy didn't destroy the human ship. Instead, it was caught in the quantum fields, redirected and amplified by the very principles the Karthak had tried to use against them. The beam twisted back on itself, following paths of least resistance through space that the humans had carefully calculated. Direct hit on their command ship, Walker announced, his voice filled with disbelief and triumph. Their own weapon, we redirected it right back at them. The Karthak command vessel's crystalline structure, designed to channel and amplify energy, proved to be its undoing. The redirected beam caused a cascade of overloads throughout its lattice. Cracks appeared in its once perfect surface, spreading like lightning through glass. Their command network is collapsing, Winter reported. The remaining ships, they're falling into chaos. Chen watched as the mighty Karthak command ship broke apart, its destruction serving as a testament to the folly of underestimating humanity's resourcefulness. The remaining alien vessels, their rigid command structure shattered, began to retreat in disarray. Hold position, Chen ordered as several officers moved to pursue. Let them go. They'll carry the message back to their collective. Humanity isn't just another species to be conquered. We're a force to be reckoned with. The bridge crew watched in silence as the surviving Karthak ships fled, their once perfect formation now broken and scattered. They had come expecting an easy victory over a primitive species. They left with a lesson that would echo through their empire. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, not through age or inheritance, but through innovation, courage, and the unwavering will to survive. In the aftermath of the battle, the Phoenix's crew worked tirelessly to assess their situation. Debris from the destroyed Karthak vessels drifted through space, their crystalline fragments catching starlight like frozen fireworks. But Commander Chen knew better than to celebrate too early. Status report, she ordered, studying the tactical display where the retreating Karthak signatures were still visible at the edge of their sensor range. Hull integrity at 82%, Walker responded. Swarm network is down to 60% capacity. We've lost some drones, but the system is still operational. More concerning are the readings we're getting from the quantum resonators. That last maneuver pushed them to their limits. Chen nodded grimly. And the data we recovered from their command ship. Winter's fingers danced across her console as she pulled up the decoded transmissions. Her expression changed as she read, color draining from her face. "Commander, you need to see this." The information displayed on the main screen made the entire bridge crew fall silent. They weren't just looking at tactical data or ship specifications. They were seeing the Carthag's true intentions. The attack on the Phoenix hadn't been a random encounter. Earth had been their target all along. "They've been watching us," Chen said quietly, reading through the intelligence reports. "For years, they didn't just stumble across us. They've been studying Earth, analyzing our defenses, preparing for a full-scale invasion." The tactical display shifted, showing a massive fleet movement deep in Carthag space. Hundreds of ships, far more than they'd faced today, were being assembled. The Phoenix's victory hadn't stopped their plans. It had only accelerated them. According to these reports, Walker added, "They consider us a threatening anomaly. Our rate of technological advancement doesn't match their models for species development. They see us as a potential threat to their dominion over this sector of space." Chen's jaw tightened. "They're right. Get me a secure channel to Earth Command. They need to know what's coming." But before Winter could establish the connection, the ship's sensors blared a new warning. Rodriguez's hands flew across his station. Multiple fold space signatures detected. "They're not retreating. They're bringing in reinforcements." The tactical display lit up as new contacts emerged from fold space. These weren't the same crystalline ships they'd faced before. These were larger, darker, their designs more aggressive. The Carthag weren't just sending more ships. They were deploying their elite forces. "They're not going to give us time to warn Earth," Chen realized. "They know we've seen their plans. They can't let us reach home." The bridge crew shared looks of determination. They all knew what was at stake now. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about protecting everything they held dear. "Options?" Chen asked, though she already knew they were limited. Walker studied the tactical display. "The quantum resonators are still damaged from our last engagement. We can't pull the same trick twice. Our pseudo-RM network is depleted, and these new ships," he shook his head, "their energy signatures are unlike anything we've seen before." "We still have the experimental phase drive," Wang suggested from tactical. "It's untested in combat conditions, but..." Chen understood the implications. The phase drive was their last resort, a piece of technology so advanced that even its creators weren't entirely sure how it worked. It had been derived from theories about quantum tunneling and parallel spacetime, pushing the boundaries of what humanity thought possible. "If we use the phase drive, there's no guarantee we'll be able to control where we end up," Walker warned. "We could end up anywhere in space, or worse." "Better that than letting them take the ship," Chen responded. "The Phoenix carries too much of Earth's advanced technology. If they capture us, they'll learn everything they need to know about our defenses, our capabilities. We can't let that happen." The new Carthag fleet was moving into attack formation, their ships arranging themselves in a pattern that would cut off any escape route. They had learned from their previous encounter. They weren't taking any chances this time. "All hands, battle stations," Chen commanded. "This isn't the end we hoped for, but it's the fight we've got. Earth depends on what we do in the next few minutes. Either we find a way through their lines, or we make sure they learn to fear the cost of threatening our home." The Phoenix's engines hummed to life as power was diverted to critical systems. In the weapons bays, the last of their conventional ammunition was loaded. The Sisbuorum network, though depleted, realigned itself for one final engagement. "Commander," Winter called out, her voice urgent. "I'm detecting unusual energy readings from the Carthag fleet. They're charging their weapons, but it's different this time. The energy signature matches what we found in their invasion plans." Chen's blood ran cold as she realized what they were seeing. "They're not trying to capture us anymore. They're going to test their invasion weapons on us first. See if they can crack Earth's best defenses. The space between the ships began to distort as the Karthak weapons reached full power. This was it, the moment that would determine not just their fate, but potentially the fate of their entire species. The Phoenix, humanity's greatest achievement in space warfare, prepared for its greatest test. And in the command chair, Commander Sarah Chen made a decision that would echo through human history, if there was still a human history to record it. The Phoenix hung in space, surrounded by the Karthak elite fleet, its hull still bearing the scars of their previous battle. In the command chair, Commander Chen made her choice. Divert all power to the phase drive, she ordered, but not for retreat. Rodriguez, plot me a course directly through their formation. Winter, prepare a data burst transmission to Earth Command. Everything we've learned about their technology, their plans, their weaknesses. Walker, I want the Siwarum network reconfigured for maximum disruption. Her crew moved with practiced efficiency, but confusion was evident on their faces. Walker voiced what they were all thinking. Commander, a frontal assault would be suicide. Even with the phase drive, we can't hope to break through their entire fleet. We're not breaking through, Chen replied, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. We're going to show them why humanity is different from every other species they've encountered. Initialize the core overload sequence. A heavy silence fell over the bridge as the implications became clear. The Phoenix's experimental quantum core wasn't just a power source. At critical mass, it could become something far more devastating. Upload the combat data to the Siwarum network, Chen continued. If any of them survive, they'll carry our tactical algorithms, our battle records, everything Earth will need to prepare. Now let's give the Karthak a lesson they'll never forget. The Phoenix's engines flared to life, its damaged hull gleaming under the light of distant stars. The Karthak fleet responded immediately, their weapons charging, expecting another clever human tactic. What they didn't expect was raw, calculated sacrifice. Phase drive engaging, Rodriguez announced, his voice steady despite knowing what was to come. Core temperature rising. The space around the Phoenix began to distort as the phase drive activated, but instead of using it to escape, Chen had something else in mind. The ship accelerated directly toward the heart of the Karthak formation, its quantum core pulsing with increasingly unstable energy. They're trying to lock us down with gravitational fields, Wang reported from Tactical. But the phase drive is keeping us partially out of normal spacetime. They can't get a solid hold. The Karthak fleet opened fire, their advanced weapons creating a web of destruction that would have annihilated any conventional ship. But the Phoenix, phasing between states of reality, pushed through. Their shots passed through its semi-phased hull or impacted harmlessly against its fluctuating quantum shields. Core temperature critical, Walker warned. Containment fields are starting to fail. Chen opened a channel to the enemy fleet, her voice calm and clear. You came to our space thinking you found another primitive species to conquer. Instead, you found humanity. We don't submit. We don't surrender. And we don't fight just for victory. We fight for survival. The Phoenix's hull began to glow as the quantum core reached unprecedented levels of instability. The phase drive, pushed beyond its limits, was tearing holes in the fabric of spacetime around them. Siwarum network deployed for maximum dispersal, Winter confirmed. Data burst ready for transmission. Chen looked at her crew, the best humanity had to offer, each ready to make the ultimate sacrifice. Send the burst. Launch the Siwarum. Take us in. The Phoenix accelerated to full speed, its phase drive creating a tunnel of distorted reality straight toward the Karthak command ships. The elite alien fleet, finally realizing the humans' intention, tried to scatter, but it was too late. Core containment failing, Walker announced. 3 seconds to critical mass. Chen's final words were transmitted not just to her crew, but recorded in the data burst speeding toward Earth. Remember us not for how we died, but for why we fought. Earth must survive. Humanity must endure. The Phoenix's quantum core breached just as the ship phased into the heart of the Karthak formation. The resulting explosion wasn't just a release of energy. It was a rupture in spacetime itself. The phase drive's effect amplified the quantum detonation, creating a cascade of reality-warping destruction that engulfed the entire fleet. When the light faded and space stabilized, nothing remained of the Phoenix or the Karthak elite fleet. But spreading out from the battle site, hundreds of swarmdrones carried the story of humanity's defiance, along with the tactical data that would help Earth prepare for what was to come. Weeks later, when the Karthak Collective received the battle records from the surviving drones, their strategic council faced an unprecedented situation. The species they had dismissed as primitive had not only fought back, but had sacrificed their most advanced ship and best crew to protect their homeworld. The message was clear: invading Earth would cost them dearly. In the end, the Phoenix's sacrifice changed the course of galactic history. The Karthak Collective, for the first time in their existence, chose to withdraw their invasion plans. They had learned what many would learn after them, that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their weapons, but their unwavering determination to survive. The coordinates of that final battle became known throughout the galaxy as the Phoenix Point, a reminder that sometimes the smallest powers can shake the greatest empires. And in the centuries that followed, as humanity expanded among the stars, they carried with them the legacy of the CSS Phoenix and its crew, a legacy that proved once and for all that the human spirit was a force that even the most advanced civilizations would learn to respect.